Most Part F mistakes are not obvious. They're small design decisions that look fine on a drawing, but quietly break the ventilation strategy. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the most common Part F mistakes junior engineers make, so you know exactly what to look out for when reviewing residential ventilation design. This video is based on Approved Document F Volume 1, 2026 edition, so always check the full guidance for project-specific compliance. Mistake number 1 is checking one part of the strategy and assuming the whole design works. Approved Document F relies on extract ventilation, whole dwelling ventilation, and purge ventilation working together. A lot of junior engineers focus on just one part. They might see the fan and assume the dwelling is fine. Or they might see openable windows and think that covers the requirement. But the strategy only works when all three layers are understood together. Mistake number 2 is mixing up equivalent area and free area. This comes up all the time with trickle ventilators and background ventilators. Part F uses equivalent area, not free area, and if the manufacturer information does not give you the equivalent area clearly, you should not assume the product complies just because the vent looks large enough. Mistake number 3 is checking background ventilators room by room but forgetting the dwelling-wide arrangement. Table 1.7 gives minimum equivalent areas in the rooms, but it also sets minimum numbers of ventilators in the dwelling and special requirements for open-plan kitchen living spaces. So the job is not just checking one bedroom in isolation. It is checking the whole arrangement properly. Mistake number 4 is assuming continuous mechanical extract means no background ventilators are needed. Paragraph 1.64 says that where continuous mechanical extract ventilation is used, background ventilators should not be in wet rooms, but each habitable room should still have a minimum equivalent area of 4,000 square millimeters. That is a classic misunderstanding. Mistake number 5 is forgetting internal air transfer. You can have the correct fan rates and the correct background ventilators, but if air cannot move through the dwelling, the strategy is weakened. Paragraph 1.21 requires a minimum free area equivalent to a 10 mm undercut in a 760 mm wide internal door, with the actual undercut depending on whether the floor finish has been fitted. Mistake number 6 is getting the extract rates wrong in wet rooms. For intermittent extract systems, Table 1.1 sets minimum rates of 30 liters per second for a kitchen with a cooker hood extracting to outside, 60 liters per second for a kitchen without one, 30 liters per second for a utility room, 15 liters per second for a bathroom, and 6 liters per second for sanitary accommodation. These numbers are basic, but they are exactly the kind of thing people misremember. Mistake number 7 is assuming a recirculating cooker hood solves the kitchen ventilation requirement. It doesn't. The document is clear that a recirculating cooker hood on its own does not provide a means of ventilation that complies with Part F. That is one of those details that can easily be missed in residential design if you are not reading carefully. Mistake number 8 is confusing purge ventilation with background ventilation. Purge ventilation is not the same thing as a trickle vent. The document says each habitable room should have a system for purge ventilation capable of at least 4 air changes per hour directly to outside, and if openings are used, Table 1.4 gives the minimum area depending on the window type and opening angle. So if somebody points to a trickle ventilator and says that covers purge, that is wrong. Mistake number 9 is applying the simple tables to layouts that the guidance itself flags as more complicated. Table 1.7 warns that expert advice should be sought in cases such as single facade dwellings, dwellings with most openings on the same facade, or kitchens without an external facade for installing a ventilator. That means you should not always assume the prescriptive route is enough. Mistake number 10 is treating commissioning and handover as somebody else's problem. Section 4 makes clear that mechanical ventilation systems should be installed, inspected, tested and commissioned, and that the owner should be given written information explaining how to operate and maintain the system. So compliance is not just about design intent. It is also about verification and usable handover information. If you step back, what ties all of these mistakes together is not that engineers are careless. It is that Part F rewards people who think in systems. The fan rate might be right, but the transfer path might be wrong. The vent size might be right, but the layout might not suit the prescriptive table. The window may open, but not enough for purge. The design may look clean, but the commissioning and handover might still be weak. So the best habit you can build as a junior engineer is to review ventilation in layers. First, ask what the overall strategy is. Then check the extract rates. Then check the background or whole dwelling ventilation route. Then check the transfer path. Then check purge. Then check whether the design is relying on a simple prescriptive route in a layout that may need more detailed thinking. And finally, remember that the system still needs to be installed, tested, commissioned, and handed over properly. That is how you stop just reading Part F and start actually using it. If this video helped, subscribe to The Lazy Engineer. And if you want me to keep breaking down approved document F in a way that is actually useful for junior engineers, let me know what section you want next.